My advice for writing a cover letter is to structure it like a letter. So finding out who to address it to is one of the really important things that I would suggest. So even for us, addressing it to Macquarie Campus Recruitment Team is better than writing to whom it may concern. I'd also recommend sticking to a clear structure. So an introduction, why this type of work, why Macquarie, why you, and a conclusion.
My recommendations to students who are applying but using CVs, cover letters or profile that they're creating is to get the basics right. So they need to look for typos, use friends, family to actually do a proofread, because the number of applicants that have typing errors or have grammatical errors who have written cover letters for a different company, it doesn't show interest or professionalism. So that's really important. I've recently coached someone who wanted feedback on their CV, and they didn't realise that their first power statement really didn't show that they were a team player. It showed that they came across as quite aggressive. So do a sound check with other people on how you're coming across. Can't emphasize enough that this is probably a good time for you to create a LinkedIn profile. As a recruiter, what I've done is when I've seen someone that looks quite well suited is jump onto LinkedIn to research what the person's about, and the number of people who don't have a profile is quite amazing. So start working on your professional profile online. And so when it comes to that, the photo that you choose to put on your CV or on your LinkedIn profile, it's not your social profile. So try to make that photo look as professional as possible. So not your party clothes, no chest hairs, cleavage, all of that. You need to just brush it up and get someone probably in a working environment to just double check on those things for you.
My recommendation for students writing CVs is to provide the context to your achievements and experience. Often students will leave this out and it actually sells their application short. Recruiting managers and hiring managers, we're not going to have the same information that you're going to have in terms of how those achievements were gained. And it's your role to help paint that picture for us so that we can help understand you and your application in that context. An example of this is during your work experience. So say for example, if you've had a part-time role and you've been working 2 days a week, but if you leave that off your resume, we're not going to know how many days a week you have worked. And where that becomes relevant is that if you have a student who's applied working 1 day a week, to us that might look like the same experience. But in actual fact, you have double the amount of experience as that previous student. And if you don't put that on, we don't know that, and we don't understand the full context of your application. Other examples of how you can provide context on your cover letter or your CV would be how many days a week you work at your part-time role. You could provide, say, a hyperlink to the website of an organisation that you volunteer at. Or, for example, if you play netball, you could tell us how many days a week and for how long you've been doing so. On the interest part of your CV, we'll see lots of people write, say, an interest that, oh, I enjoy playing netball. Or you could say, I enjoy playing netball, I play 2 times a week and I have been doing so for the last 5 years. Suddenly we learn a lot more about you as an individual and the types of things you like spending your time on and the types of skills that you develop through doing that by having that extra context and specific detail.
My recommendations when writing a CV, first of all, brief is best. I would recommend 1 to 2 pages maximum. Second of all, I would say make sure that you tailor your CV every time you send it out. So whether that be to different organisations, different companies, make sure that you tailor it in your first section, which should be your career objective section. And lastly, I think make sure that your CV tells a story. So make sure it's fluid and concise and makes sense from paragraph 1 to the close.
My advice for writing a cover letter is to be really clear about why you want to join that firm and really clear about why you think you're a really good fit. So when you spend time and you really research why you're interested in a firm, that's really impressive when I'm reading a cover letter. I really want to feel that you're interested in us, and then that makes me more interested in you. A common mistake that students make is to have a cover letter that's really generic, and if I can substitute the name of our firm for another firm, then it's unlikely that you'll make it through that screening stage.